All righty, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Football Clowns Anonymous. My name is Ren Smith. I'm a football clown, and I'm joined by my co-host, Curtis Pinkney, who is also a football clown. This particular week, we are feeling particularly good about ourselves, despite the fact that we call ourselves clowns, as we just had a phenomenal week of sports betting on Week 6 NFL action. All four of us hit bets, and I say that because there's two of us, and each of us now has apparently an alter ego that has hit bets, and we have a third or a final bet that's in play right now with this Bills and Jets Monday Night Football game that's currently happening. And I see Curtis shaking his head, so why don't you go ahead and update the audience on what you just witnessed?
A-Rod just threw a Hail Mary to Allen Lazard at the end of the half for a touchdown. Absolutely disgusting.
It was caught?
It was caught.
I've
got Lazard on my fantasy team, but I've already won the week, so I could have afforded for him to lose that. We're full Bills fan right now. You hate to see that.
That is disgusting.
Come on, man.
There have been a couple of disgusting and noteworthy Aaron Rodgers Hail Marys to end games and or halves. And man, it's not fun to be struck with another one of those for your own team.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's not what you want. On the brighter note, that is good for my teaser leg because, as you may recall from last, long-time listeners and avid listeners of the show will know, we have Jets plus 8.5 paired with Bucks plus 8.5. I've got to say, was very happy that we record this show on Monday during the game before Derek Carr got injured. The Bucks were underdogs by 2.5 points. They closed favorites by 3.5 points, but we were able to lock in those teaser legs, and they put up a 50 burger against the Saints. And boy, that was a thing of beauty. So Jets is the last one that's got to hit.
Great value there. The fact that the Bucks were underdogs to begin with, regardless of Derek Carr's injury status, was mind-boggling to me. So I felt very good about that one. The Broncos tried their hardest to mess up the one teaser, but they got the little field goal at the end to save that, so that was nice.
Yeah, I was disgusted by, I think it was a 20-0 lead for the Chargers that they came out to. Yeah. And after hitting that Bucks leg, which was shared between both of the teasers, I was like, man, we're cruising now. And Broncos go down in the whole 20 points. But hey, if they come back, all that matters is the end of the game. So it's very exciting stuff.
And Curtis will never be making a teaser bet ever again. I'm pretty confident I'm 0 for however many teasers I've tried up to this point. Silly me. It's honestly my fault. The Jaguars plus 8.5. A touchdown and some change. We can't. We'll get to them. We'll get to the Jags. We got a little special something for them coming up. But they got their ass beat by the Bears. So
I joined you in my personal side. We didn't have anything else on the Jags, just your bet. I joined them on the side, or joined you on the side with the Jags, and was very disappointed in that pick. They always play well in London, but man, that's just, you hate to see it.
Terrible.
But in general, we have a lot to celebrate this week. And in general, the last few weeks, we've been doing a really good job of betting. So we make predictions every single week on these NFL games. And if you want to get added to our wonderful spreadsheet that we keep, you can send us an email, footballclownsanonymous@gmail.com. Just send us an email and say, I want to be added to the pick sheet. And we'll go ahead and give you the access to view that sheet. And you can at least see our picks and see what we're thinking. We were amazing last week on spreads. So just something to throw in there. We're not always that good, but I think what we're looking for is just making those predictions sort of blind to the lines, and then finding out where are the lines different from what we're thinking, just kind of knee-jerk reaction. And it's been working out okay for us. We're not pros at this. We're just kind of scraping together what we can at this point. But
yeah. So, I mean, let's be clear. You and I aren't, but
there it is. The Oracle has to have his own segment at the top here.
That boy might be a professional, because the Oracle is now, I don't know, what are we in? 3 for 6. The Oracle is 50% on the year, just throwing darts at these crazy parlays. Washington plus 7.5, Houston minus 6.5, Bucks money line. Just a nothing crazy this week or this past week. Nothing crazy. Just
Just
you
a
know,
smooth, just a smooth plus 400 odds. Like, well done,
nothing,
sir.
nothing crazy. And then Curtis, we'll bring that goofy mug back. We had the teaser. We had Atlanta, Carolina under 47.5. That whiffed pretty hard. And I also did Cleveland and Philly under 43.5. I think until further notice, all Cleveland games, I'm hammering the under because the Browns are good for maybe 15 points a game, and they've got it. Admittedly, they've got a decent defense, so I don't see how. Like, spoiler alert, this week I've got another Cleveland Browns under because they got a 45 point over under against the Bengals, and they're not putting up any points.
That's
the Bengals apparently, yeah, Bengals can't put up
under.
points. Yeah,
How did that total slip up to 45? That's
idea.
crazy to me. Because when the Bengals were flailing around yesterday against the Giants too, and granted the Giants defense isn't horrible, but like it was pretty clear to me that these offenses should not be trusted that much to have that
right. The Bengals are an enigma. I have no idea what's going on with them, but they cannot be trusted until further notice. The Ravens game, kind of a fluke. I feel like they always have high scoring games. I think those are just kind of fluky divisional chaos type of scenarios. Bengals it's an easy under all day.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then Ren's bet was the Colts -1, which ended up coming through for me. Joe Flacco getting it done on the road. Didn't look as pretty as I was hoping, and looked a little ugly for part of that. And then, like I said, Bucks on both teaser legs, and the Broncos with one. They barely came through, and we got the Jets coming so far. So we took $10 this week, and we've turned it into like $18 so far, with an opportunity for a little more here if the Jets can keep this game close. So we're feeling good. Again, let's hope for a little more of these good vibes in week 7. We'll get to our betting segment later on with our predictions.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Jets plus 8.5, I mean, so that game's going on right now. What we forgot to mention last week, this game is actually for control of the division. So a nice little bit of intrigue there. So the football fan of me is actually kind of glad it went 20-17 in the halftime, because second half is going to be that much more interesting. But we would be remiss if we did not talk about the drama that is the New York Football Jets. Absolutely,
all of it.
Absolutely crazy what's going on. Saleh got fired. Apparently, before he got fired, he was on his way to go fire Hackett, the offensive coordinator, aka Aaron Rodgers' best friend. And I'm pretty sure he was trying to fire Hackett as a scapegoat for his own misgivings, we'll say.
Issues.
He got fired, and then they promoted the defensive coordinator to the interim head coach, and Hackett got stripped of his play calling. And throughout all of this, of course, the man at the common denominator, I think, well, maybe not the common, that's not right to say, but Aaron Rodgers, who we all suspect had a hand in this. It wasn't me. I had no idea. Come on, Doug.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. Of course I did.
Of
course I didn't. He was pulling the strings. He was pulling the strings. And he's part of the problem, but it's so hard. We talked about this a little bit last week. He's part of the problem too, in his attitude and the way that he's not playing up to par for what we've come to expect from Aaron Rodgers over the last 15 years or however long he's been in the league. But it's so hard for a team, I feel like, to just dump all the blame on a future Hall of Fame Super Bowl champion quarterback, and much easier for you to dump the blame. And I'm not absolving Saleh of being, saying he's a great head coach per se.
He's had a rough couple of years.
Yes. He was a great defensive mind for several years, and the Jets defense has always been good under him. So props to them for that. Looks like without him in this game against the Bills, they're giving up 20 points in the first half, so that's not a great look. But it's a mess in New York, and I was so happy to I'm happy to see Aaron Rodgers floundering, even though I was excited to see him playing this year. I really wanted him to be bad secretly, and that Jets team to be bad secretly. And I do have an open bet in my bet slip for Jets under 9.5 wins, and I feel very good about that right now.
I think if they lose this game, the season will be in full tailspin mode. we'll see. So both of these teams are playing pretty well. They're both running the ball very well. I think that's gonna, it's opening up the offense a little bit. Rodgers is getting his, his Hail Mary luck in here. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting second half, and if they can find a way to pull it off, that will certainly have, it will reignite a certain feel for the season. But if they drop this one, I don't think it's going to be great. It's the media is going to have a field day with the Jets. I think we can say that
for sure. And speaking of media having a field day, I've noticed that there's a lot of buzz around your Eagles and how sort of pathetic it was that they only won the game by a few points to a Cleveland Browns team. And there's, people calling for Sirianni to be fired, even though they won the game. And is this, I mean, how much of this is deserved and how much of this is just Eagles fans being Eagles fans? Is it a little bit of both? Where are we at with this?
Yes, I think it is deserved. Against a floundering Browns team. Again, they have a good defense, but we do not look good on offense. It just feels the same as it did last year, where it's a very vanilla, AJ Brown run down the sideline, throw up a 50-50 ball and hope it works. Saquon has been a revelation, of course, but he had a quiet game, so we were limited in that department. It doesn't feel like we are as explosive explosive of an offense as we have been in the past, and we can and or should be, given the personnel that we have on the offensive side of the football. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, that game should not have been close. There should not have been a question of, are we really about to lose to the Browns? That should never have happened throughout that entire game. It's unacceptable. And then we've got the head coach out here jawing at the fans after you win because they're talking shit on you. Bro, it's earned. You earned that, dog. Like, you can't, get your head in the game, dog. Like, you can't be doing this, man. You're the head coach of a professional football team. Like, I understand, competitive spirit and, the players like to see the fiery head coach, blah, blah, blah. Focus on the game plan and get this offense looking right, and then worry about the fans. You cannot eke out a win against the Cleveland Browns, who have been clown of the week, are the default clown of the week until Voldemort gets benched, and then expect people to give you props for that. Like, that's not how this works, bro. Like, that needed to be, and coming out of the bye week, no less. Like, come on, dog. Like, that's not good. That's not great.
No, it was not rough. A great and at home too. Like
that, bro. Not great.
Not good. You were favored by 9.5 points in that game, I think, by the time it closed. Like, come on, dude. You should be kicking the shit out of that team.
We've got the Giants coming up, and I picked the Eagles to win. I don't feel good about it.
How can you?
Ridiculous to say.
I mean, how can you feel good? I mean, the Giants haven't shown us much, but how can you feel great about it? I think the Eagles are the better team still, but like, holy crap, you got some serious question marks. I can't remember, is that game in Philly or is it in New York?
It is in New York.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. The one saving grace is Daniel Jones, for whatever reason, plays terrible at home. So maybe he'll bail us out, but just come on, dog.
I feel like Daniel Jones is just bad in general, but
he is.
Yeah, that's just I've always had a negative take on Daniel Jones, though, especially since he got a big contract after he beat the Vikings in a playoff game when the Vikings had no secondary. They didn't even bother to field cornerbacks in that game. They just threw to the receivers on the outside and hoped the linebacker would catch up with them. And then he got a big contract and it was not earned. So I've always been on Daniel Jones in a bad way since then. So
right. So I mean, while we're talking about the Giants, I mean, we've got in the show notes, Giants still suck.
They do suck. Well, I think it's interesting because the week before they went into Seattle, and so there's always this like transitive property, where you've got a team that beats a team, and then the same team loses to another team, and you're like, where's the good team, where's the bad team, who's the and obviously it's any given Sunday, but it is really interesting to me to see, because I think you had some question marks maybe with the Giants going on the road, playing that Seattle team, which at the time was looking good and feeling good, and they got a really convincing win. The defense played awesome. And then you come home and you can't put up more than 7 points against a Bengals team that hasn't really looked up to par. and they haven't shown that they have a good defense this year.
No.
So, what are you doing? So I think it's really interesting that it is, again, it really is the any given Sunday thing. But I think based on what I'm seeing, that the week with the win at Seattle is much more of an aberration than not.
I think so, but the fact that the Bengals could only put up 17 points on that defense, I mean, that says something. And we kind of mentioned it already, but there's got to be something going on with the Bengals, because there ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way you put up 38 points on the Ravens and then only 17 in a very unconvincing win against the Giants. And I think they were talking about in the broadcast, Joe Burrow still got he's a little uncomfortable with that wrist. So maybe that's it. But I mean, he looked sharp against the Ravens. So right. I don't know. I cannot for the life of me put my finger on it. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna be honest. I went to sleep at halftime for that game because it was not worth losing sleep over with the baby at the house. And wasn't super surprised to see it was only 17-7 when I woke up. Joe Burrow had a very pedestrian day. The running game was actually, I will admit, that run that he had in the first quarter,
well done.
Kind of nice.
Yeah,
kind of nice.
Pretty nice.
That was nice. I didn't know he had wheels like that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It was like a 40-yard touchdown run for a quarterback, for a not Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts type of quarterback.
Yeah. But other than that, just very, very meh all around, both sides of the ball for both teams, just meh.
Yeah, I mean, I watched most of that game, and I think I was still sleeping for most of it. So don't feel bad about actually literally being sleeping during that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the Ravens, and I see in the show notes here you would like to declare that they're the best team in football, despite the fact that there are two undefeated teams. I'm kidding. I would have a hard time disagreeing with this. But
ain't no way.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the now that they've hit their stride, the offense is clicking in a way that I'm sure the rest of the NFL feared up to this point. Bro, no, until further notice, nobody's beating that team. The running duo of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry materializing into the best version of itself is honestly, it's a thing of beauty to watch. Lamar is MVP back to back. Until somebody else shows that they deserve the MVP, it's not even a question in my mind right now that it's a guarantee he gets the MVP, barring injury, of course, or some catastrophic meltdown. But the way that offense looks right now, it's honest. It's a really fun team to watch. I mean, the defense is good, not great, but with the way that and Derrick Henry is a freak of nature. Just the way that he gets stronger as the game goes on, and it's almost when you get to the fourth quarter and they run that little outside scheme hitting the C gap, and it's almost expected that he's going to get those two steps, hit that crease, and then he's just gone, and he just puts you away with that just soul snatching, romping down the sideline run.
Soul snatching. That's it. You got away with words, sir.
Just dribbling somebody off the field, and it's a wrap after that. It's there is no team that can compete with them right now. And if this continues, it's an easy Super Bowl victory in my humble opinion.
Yes, although we would have said the same thing last year too, until they ran up against Kryptonite, which was again their Kryptonite this year. So we'll have to make sure that it plays out that way. But on paper, I tend to agree.
Yes, that is true. I would argue their Kryptonite looks a lot less kryptonite-ish at the moment.
That's true.
And I think the game coming up this week will be very telling. So that we'll see. But I agree, but we'll see.
Yeah, I am excited to see that Super Bowl rematch and take the temperature on the Chiefs for sure. And I know you also want to talk about the I should throw out there. Speaking of great teams, the NFC North is the best.
You go ahead, take a victory.
The best division. It's the best division in football, and it's not even close. Like I saw. I'd have to check this again to make sure. But I saw earlier today those four teams have the four best point differentials in the entire NFL right now in order.
And it's like 40 points each.
they're
something
killing
crazy.
they're
Yeah.
killing teams. We talked about the Bears and killing the Jags and how we thought the Jags would keep it close. And Caleb Williams is out there balling out of control. He's got great receivers. He's got they've got a good squad there in Chicago. And
He's like
I know it's
he's
the
like the
Jags.
Derrick Henry of rookie quarterbacks, just getting stronger as the season goes on.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, he's hitting his stride, and it's as much as I hate seeing the other teams in the NFC North look like this, it is a thing of beauty and good for him. And as it was maybe harder to watch last year's number one pick just be garbage, because it's bad for the NFL for a lot of reasons. You wish him well, and I don't know. I want us to beat him twice, but we'll see what happens. And then you got the Packers who not go in, but they host the Cardinals. Just curb stomp the Cardinals. Just beat them by 3 possessions or 4 possessions.
30 points or something crazy.
Yeah, it was a wild beatdown. And you have the Cards. You had the Cards and feeling good about them early in the season, and I'm curious. Are the Packers and the NFC North that good, or are the Cardinals are the wheels falling off here pretty soon for them?
Yes, I don't feel good about the Cardinals that take anymore. The Packers, I'm pretty confident they're the real deal. And what's crazy is I don't think Jordan Love is playing his best ball right now, which is kind of wild to say. So playing the Cardinals defense certainly helps mask that a little bit. So we'll see when they have to play stiffer competition. Like they've got Houston coming up, but Houston has its own question marks. It's another team that, they've got a good record, but it's not a super convincing 5-1 in my opinion. And just based on kind of some of the information I'm consuming. But yeah, the Cardinals don't look great right now. Marvin Harrison not going to be playing next week because he got carted off with a concussion, or not carted, excuse me. He left the game with a concussion.
Yep.
Run game didn't really do much against the Packers defense. Kyler Murray, very hot and cold. Some games he looks okay. Some games he looks terrible. I don't watch the Cardinals close enough to understand what's going on there. But that dark horse Cardinals sneaking into the playoffs take probably not going to pan out.
Well, it was like plus 300 odds. So, you win some, you lose some. And just to put a bow on, and then just to put a bow on the NFC North, the third team of 3 is the Detroit Lions showing up and just crushing the Dallas Cowboys, which I think is emblematic of multiple things. It's Detroit is back, and Detroit is here to party. However, also there's some big time issues going on in Dallas right now, and we've got a little special treatment for them later on. But I sense that you'd like to jump in and say something.
No, we're gonna go ahead and wait till the clown of the week to give the Cowboys their proper appreciation on this show, because yikes.
To give them the clown crown, if you will.
Yes. Yeah. They're going to get a rare double clown of the week. Spoiler alert.
That there's nobody, you can't look at the results from this week and not say that. That's again, we'll get there. Regardless.
I couldn't run to the show docs fast enough to get them into clown of the week. It was
just for reference. Curtis copied the template for our document today. I go into this thing, there's literally only one thing written in there, and it's his pick for clown of the week. So man, oh man, just easy, just way too easy. So anyway, the NFC North is looking awesome. I'm really looking forward to, we'll talk about this separately too, but I'm really looking forward to the Lions and the Vikings this coming week as a great temp check for both of these teams.
Man,
I think that's
absolutely
wonderful. Do you want to talk about the Jags? And we talked about we talked about them a little bit with the London game and how the Bears just kind of blew their doors off. But
blew the brakes off.
A couple of coaches that are on the hot seat right now, and I think Doug Peterson is certainly one of them. We talked about, I don't think Sirianni is, but the Cowboys and McCarthy. I'm not sure that they'll do that, but we'll have to wait and see. There's already some talk of this. We already had one head coach fired this year, so will there be more? Yeah,
when you get blown up by 40 points, it's got to be an automatic. What's going on with this coach? And the Jags. We talked about last week how Peterson probably saved his job by eking out that win. He's got to be right back on the hot seat with this just embarrassing loss. And then they've got the Patriots again in London, the back-to-back London game, which is kind of interesting. But honestly, I think the Jags, in as far as I'm concerned, they are honorary clowns of the week because they just don't look good. Trevor Lawrence doesn't really look good. He's making some poor decisions with the football. He looks, I don't want to say skittish, but he's just making some bad throws. The run game was awful. The defense obviously got tore up. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think we should be surprised if they lose to the Patriots.
No.
On Sunday. Spoiler alert. Matter of fact, I've got the Patriots winning that game because that defense looks pretty good. Drake May doesn't look horrible. He had a pretty it was a rookie debut, but he was serviceable. He threw 3 touchdowns
against a good Texans team. Yeah.
Yeah. And granted, 2 of them were, pretty much in garbage time. 2 of them came one was like a minute before the 4th, and then the other was in 4th quarter. So the game was already way out of hand, but he threw them. You still gotta throw against some kind of defense. So I'm just not I don't see why the Jags should have any kind of respect on their name until further notice. This is a Patriots team that beat the Bengals. If we're doing NFL math, in theory, that Patriots team should beat the Jags because nobody believes in the Jags right now. So I don't know.
It's an interesting game. I think it's one of those that it definitely, you'd think on paper you should just automatically pencil in the Jags to win that game because the Patriots aren't good, but now you've got real question marks with Drake May coming in as quarterback and, like you said, looking decent. So the only one logistical advantage is the Jags have been there for a while, and if the Patriots get there a couple days before, they might still be dealing with jet lag and things like that. So maybe one small advantage for the Jags. And
Sure.
they're supposed to be used to playing over there. They play over there every single year. That's why I believed in you when you had the Jags in that teaser leg, but I should not have.
Man. I thought that was my bad. I apologize.
Well, it's all good. It happens.
But speaking of NFL or rookie quarterback debuts, you want to dive in Bucs Saints because that was looking kind of interesting there for about a half.
It was. Spencer Rattler looks okay. Baker Mayfield threw 3 picks in that game, and they still put up a 50 burger against the Saints, which is kind of wild. But he looks all right too. He was a much lower valued in the draft sort of pick. Yeah. So if he ends up being a serviceable quarterback for them, at least better than Derek Carr, they've got some good weapons on that team. That I'm not going to say that's Super Bowl contender or anything like that, but they could make a little noise down the stretch this year if they look like that. I think the Bucs are a good team, and we've been talking about them since the preseason actually. About how they look like a really good team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints can put a little something together with Spencer Rattler. We'll have to wait and see. But again, rookie debut. I'm
pretty sure Carr is going to be back, and I don't know if it's this week, but probably the week after. I don't think his injury is going to keep him out for too long. So,
but then there's the question of what do you do? If Rattler looks okay, what do you do?
No way. There's no way.
Why put him in then? Why put him in then? They got it. Why have him be the fill-in for a couple of weeks? They had that other. I forget what the guy's name was. He played the rest of the game.
Who else do they have?
No, they had somebody else that played. He was a fill-in dude that played after Carr got hurt for the rest of that game last week. And I was surprised that he wasn't starting again because I think they just decided, hey, we're going to see what we have with this rookie quarterback. So my gut would be that if he looks serviceable, you would keep him in. But we'll have to wait and see.
Jake Haener. That's because he went 2 of 7 for 17 yards. I would. You got to put in the rookie, see what you got.
That's fair.
If he's gonna, because I'm sure there will be questions. The way that the Saints season is going, I'm sure there will be questions on. Is Derek Carr the future? What are they going to do with him? Are they bringing him back? Is it Rattler time? All that kind of stuff. So, you got to get some film on the rookie so you can make a more informed business decision at the end of the day. So that's where I'm sure their head was at.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, the other two NFC South teams played this week too, and the Falcons kicked the shit out of the Panthers, and this proves absolutely nothing in my opinion. The Falcons are a decent team, and the Panthers are absolute garbage. So I see no needle moving in any direction whatsoever, and I still am pissed that the Bucs got robbed of that overtime game against the Falcons. I think the Bucs I still really like that bet for them to win the division at plus 320 odds.
100%. The only thing I would
keep that going.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would take away from the Falcons Panthers is that rushing attack, that two-headed monster with Algier and Robinson, lethal. But Tyler Algier is a dog. Do you see that run where he dragged like the whole Panthers defense down to the 1 yard line? He's a dog.
I did not, but I'm really glad that I had him as an emergency fill-in guy on my dynasty team,
Yes.
and he scored a touchdown for me.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the we'll call it a fluke 500-yard game that Cousins has had, he's still he doesn't look quite like Pete Cousins or the Cousins of old, but it's good enough for to beat up on a Panthers team. And I don't remember who they have this week, but the Seahawks. That should be a decent game.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Seahawks, their run defense is a huge problem right now because they got ran all over by Jordan Mason first for a few carries, and then insert backup running back who I've never even heard of because Jordan Mason got hurt. If Bijan and Tyler Algier are going to have a repeat performance against the Seahawks team, they might be in trouble because they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And I mean, it's not like they get a lesser run team this upcoming week.
Kirk Cousins will throw for 120 yards and they'll win the game by 30 probably.
100%.
They can't figure that out. Yeah, that'll be wild. I mean, I think that game could be reasonably good and close just because Seattle's really got something to play for. And I still have a couple of question marks other than the 500 yards for Kirk is not sustainable. You were saying we'll discard that because it's not, necessarily I would be shocked if that was a common stat line, but yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes. I think the Seahawks have been they went out to a 3-0 or 3-0 start, and they've been kind of punched in the mouth now these last couple of games. We talked about that loss to the Giants a couple weeks ago too. They are really going to be looking to get back on track. I'm not sure they'll do it, but I expect that they're going to throw the whole kitchen sink at Atlanta and anything that they can. The offense might be enough, but like you said, I'm not sure about that defense.
Right, and
all those running backs.
It's crazy because Geno, I think he's had the most passing yards or had the most passing yards in the league, but he's only been throwing a touchdown a game. And I think that trend continued on Thursday night. If he could get a couple more of those to go down a week, I think that significantly changes the math on their season. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? So
yeah,
we'll see.
No, exactly. It's interesting. I mean, it's just interesting the rise and fall that you see throughout the course of the season. The fast start that they got out to, and then just kind of the fall from grace there a little bit. And right. Speaking of ebbs and flows, we have one more note here about the Denver Broncos and the Chargers, and these are teams that have been kind of up and down and a little bit inconsistent throughout the course of the season as well. The Chargers had Herbert out for a little bit too. The Broncos beat the Buccaneers somehow, and then they beat the Jets, and in a rainy shit weather type of game. That was an interesting game in that the Chargers really let them come back, but it seemed like the Chargers have that template mapped out better than the Broncos, and Herbert's still a much better quarterback than Bo Nix, at least at this moment. And that was shown during the game.
Yeah, I had the note that it just feels to me the Chargers are just a better version of what the Broncos want to be. Stout defense, great running game, good quarterback. Keep it low scoring, punch you in the mouth. Kind of reminiscent of Steelers football. I think we have to be on dark horse playoff watch with the Chargers. What are they sitting at now? I think it's 3-2, I believe. and with a 3-2, and with the AFC kind of being all over the place a little bit, I think there's definitely room for them to sneak in as a 7 or a 6 seed. So definitely a team to keep an eye on. If they can keep playing solid football, get healthy, because I don't even know if Bosa played in that game, but if they can get healthy and stay healthy on both sides of the ball, I don't see any reason why they couldn't sneak into the playoffs.
No, I mean, even the Baltimore Ravens have 2 losses, so you're putting yourself in the, and the division, games against the Broncos and games against the Raiders. I mean, the Chiefs they already played one against the Chiefs and couldn't get it done, but you never know, because they've showed a couple of cracks in the armor for them too. So,
right.
Yeah. So I like the way you're taking that, or the angle you've got there. So
yeah.
Let's move on to our favorite segment of the week, and that is the Clown of the Week segment. And we've already really we're dripping with hints about what's going to happen in this segment right here. But I'm going to go ahead and hand the floor to my co-clown, Curtis Pinkney, to name his clown of NFL Week 6. And who might that be, sir?
All right. The person that I had to rush to the show notes to put in as Clown of the Week before anything else, I put in this man's name into Clown of the Week and then closed my laptop because there was nothing else I needed to put. It was the most important item of the day. Jerry Jones, you, sir, Clown of the Week. To assemble this week, I got to work on my cursing because we're trying to monetize on YouTube, right? To put in this sorry team that you have assembled, I don't even know where to begin, man. You go into the offseason, you don't have a running game. You sign Ezekiel Elliott to solve all your running game woes.
Scrub.
And then you during the course of the season, y'all give him 5 carries a game, and you come out with the quote talking about we're saving him for the postseason or whatever nonsense you were talking about.
I'm sorry. Look at that team. What fucking postseason?
Bro,
pardon my cursing, YouTube, but man,
that's what I'm saying, bro. And so the passing attack is terrible. CeeDee Lamb could really use a great receiver opposite of him. I wonder who could have filled that shoes. I've heard some rumors that there's this guy that's on the Browns that has been rumored to go to the Cowboys. I think his name was Amari Cooper. Where was he before?
Oh, yeah, weird.
Oh, the Cowboys, but we got rid of him because we didn't want to pay him. And then you guys played all these goofy ass games with Dak and CD and their contracts, and you ended up paying them exactly what they wanted, just creating a circus around your team for no reason. Bro, y'all were getting beat so bad that the Lions had the audacity to run a play where Jared Goff threw it was basically a wide receiver screen to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell wrapped around that man for a lateral to go and score a touchdown. What would have been a touchdown if there wasn't an illegal formation penalty called. You guys almost had a touchdown scored on you by an offensive lineman because the team was so tired of scoring in the traditional manner. That's crazy. Bored.
They were just using your carcass for sport at that point.
Absolutely unacceptable performance. Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, you are the Clown of the Week. Ren, who was your Clown of the Week, sir?
My Clown of the Week was the Dallas Cowboys. I was not specific in naming Jerry Jones, but he is definitely part of the Dallas Cowboys. And boy, oh boy, just absolutely embarrassing. I know the Lions are good. You cannot be, when you were a Super Bowl contender last year, you were the 2 seed in the NFC last year, and you're coming back into this year with high expectations and high aspirations. This is a team at home that you need to beat. At the very least, in the regular season, you need to be competitive against this team. No touchdowns against the Detroit Lions. You are not a playoff team. You might even be a bottom 5. The way you're looking right now, you're a bottom 5 team in the NFC. So don't be giving this crap about we're saving Zeke for the playoffs. I don't understand. So yeah, I mean, just take a look at the scores from last week. There's no other place to put Clown of the Week. The Dallas Cowboys, who had all these high-flying expectations, did literally nothing, sat on their hands, sat on their team, and said, we're good enough. We'll get there again. You're just going to magically reappear into that 2 seed again and not lose to the Green Bay Packers this time? Come on. Come on. But because we're not being very original by naming the same clown of the week, honorable mention, I already mentioned this one. Honorable mention to Curtis's Eagles for only beating the Browns and Deshaun Watson by 4 points, and for just looking like a dumpster fire and giving them a chance to win. And my second honorable mention is everybody who's not listening to this podcast. And so if you're listening right now, you're good. You're exempt. Everyone who's not listening to this podcast, you're clown of the week also, because we could be making you money. We're so good at this right now that we could be making you money. So if you're not listening,
if
you're not
strong
listening,
chance that honorable mention number 2 should have been the number 1 clown of the week, because your boys are on fire right now.
We have the Oracle in our camp right now, and he's firing on all cylinders right now. So you can't.
He's paired with the Scholar to keep the floor nice and high.
This is how we do it.
Your boys are on fire right now.
It's a match made in heaven. You said it last week or the week before. Like I'm keeping the floor set for you, and you swing for the fences, sir. And if you hit 1 out of every 2 weeks or 1 out of every 3 weeks, we're making some serious dough. So big time. But anyway, that's just a side note there on the clown of the week. And once again, we do, because we're going to move into our game analysis for this coming week. We make all of our picks ahead of time. We don't look at the Vegas lines. We don't look at each other's picks. We literally just go in probably half asleep at 10 p.m. on a Sunday night, and we make all of our picks and say, these are the final scores for these games for the coming week. And then we put the Vegas lines in and realize, oh crap, there are some lines here that don't feel right to us. And we try to capitalize on that as best we can. Anyway, that's our strategy. We don't break down every game because we run out of time, but we're more than happy to share our pick spreadsheet with you. Send us an email, footballclownsanonymous@gmail.com, and we'll add you to the spreadsheet so you can see our picks and use that as fodder for thought for your own betting, and just to sort of bounce ideas off the wall a little bit. No promises that we're any good, but at the very least, you can see what a second and third opinions are thinking about. So,
well said, sir.
Yeah, but moving on, so moving into week 7, then there are a couple games we will talk about. We won't get to them all, but you want to talk about well, actually, you can pick.
I was going to say, where do we want to start, man? Because these are some good ass games.
They are. I was going to start with this. I was going to just hand you the Super Bowl rematch, but man, is that the one we want to save that one for towards the end?
Yeah, let's do Texans Packers to start.
No, I like that one. So, so the Houston I got to get my right sheet up here. So the Houston Texans are going on the road to Green Bay. This is going to be a phenomenal game, I think.
Yeah.
Vegas has the Packers favored by 2.5 points with an over/under of 47. I projected a 31-27 victory by Green Bay. Curtis has a 31-28 victory by Green Bay. So we're 1 point off on Houston, basically thinking the exact same thing here of a close game that's won by Green Bay. So we're really close to the Vegas line on the spread. The point total being 47. We're both over. Of course, 47 is a high number to take an over on, but nonetheless, looks a little bit enticing because of these high-flying offenses. I think it's going to be a really exciting game. CJ Stroud is vibing. Jordan Love is vibing. These guys have got their squads really looking the part of playoff teams and potentially even Super Bowl contenders. And the Texans flat out put out a bad show against the Vikings a few weeks ago. It's their only loss. I think that they'll be excited against another really good team in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be excited to come out and demonstrate that they're better than that game. And I think that they will. I think they'll at least keep it close. It could be a really interesting game. And I don't see any reason it won't be a shootout myself.
Right. I agree. And, the NFL fan in me, this matchup between these quarterbacks, I mean, this is the future of the NFL right here. Two really young quarterbacks, both balling out of control, just starting out with their careers and already playing at this level. It's really exciting stuff. And I mean, the run game for both these teams is pretty solid. You got Josh Jacobs with the Packers, Joe Mixon just having a nice second half of his career in Houston. I am really going to miss Nico Collins in this game. I mean, that's the only reason why I have the Texans losing this game is because he's going to be sitting with the hamstring. But yeah, it should be a pretty electric game. I'm assuming it's a 1 p.m. game.
Yeah, this is a 1 p.m. game, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, what a great way to start the day. I think you said it well yourself. I mean, it's just going to be a great, probably a high scoring game. You know, I think it'll be a great temperature check for both teams. I also mentioned that, I do kind of get the feeling that Houston might be a little bit fraudulent at 5-1. We'll see, but yeah, it's just going to be a good game.
Yeah, and I think until further notice, unless two NFC North teams are playing each other, I'm not betting again. I'm not picking against an NFC North team against a non-NFC North team. I can't do it at this moment. I can't do it.
That's probably not a horrible strategy. We mentioned it up top. The point differential that these teams are seeing, they're blowing teams up right now. So, it's also, I guess that's within the realm of possibilities. The Packers just beat up on the Texans, and then there's all kinds of question marks coming out of Houston about who are the Texans really, and are they going to be a early out in the playoffs? I don't know. We'll definitely see.
Yeah, I don't expect them to get blown out like they did against the Vikings, but yeah, it will be interesting if that happens to see the kind of the underlying storylines. And I don't think anybody's on the hot seat in Houston for that if it happens, because I think they still like where they sit with their young quarterback and their sort of buzzing squad, I guess, for lack of a better word. But you want to talk about the Ravens and Bucks?
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and move on to the Sunday night game. We've got the Ravens traveling to Tampa Bay.
I forgot that's on Sunday night. What must-see TV? Oh man, you're not going to sleep. You're not going to sleep for this one.
No, sir. And actually, I forgot that my father-in-law is throwing together he organized a nothing crazy, just a little tailgating for the Bills game. Going to go watch the Bills beat up on the Titans. So I don't think I'll be able to watch the Houston Green Bay game, and sadly the Lions Minnesota. I probably won't be watching much football at all, to be honest, until Sunday night. So very much looking forward to this game. Ravens are favored by 3.5 points, over under of 50.5 points. We both have the Ravens winning. How could we not? Because they're the best team in football. Ren's got them winning 34-31. I've got them winning 30-27. I think this is going to be more of a temp check for the Buccaneers than it is the Ravens.
Very much so.
I will be very disappointed in the Ravens if they lose this game. I don't think I've seen anything from the Buccaneers. Yeah, they just beat up on the Saints, but they were supposed to do that. The Saints are not a good football team, in my humble opinion, of course. But who are the Buccaneers really when they play against a team that is a legitimate Super Bowl contender? And you can make the argument a Super Bowl favorite at this point. I think this will definitely answer a lot of questions about that Bucs team, where Baker Mayfield stands, where that offense stands. I don't know about the defense. I'm not sure they're going to be able to, contain that running game, that Ravens running game. And shit, Zay Flowers was going out of control. Mark Andrews looks like he's starting to come alive again, back from the dead. I think it's nice that it's in Tampa Bay. I think that'll probably make it a little bit more entertaining, but
make it a little more competitive, probably. I think the template that we just saw, the Ravens and the Commanders game, is kind of a template in some ways for what this game will be. That the Ravens are clearly better, but the other team's definitely putting up a fight and not going away. This Bucs team feels really good about where they're sitting, and I don't think there's any reason why. I don't think there's any reason on paper why they couldn't pull off an upset, but I'm not gonna pick it because
absolutely not.
Because like we were talking about earlier, the Ravens are the best team in football. There's until further notice, like you said, even in a road game against a team that looks pretty good and has exceeded expectations going into the year, yeah, can't do it. So it's the Ravens game to lose at this point, but I think it should really be entertaining the way that that like sort of fire that Baker plays with is just he's good for an interception a game, but it's because he's trying to make an awesome play. And he's running down the field, running linebackers over. Man, it's special to watch. So I'm looking forward to that.
Outside of his 3 interceptions yesterday, it's not the only picks he's thrown all season, but he has been just throwing dimes all over the field. He's been looking great all season. It's honestly been great. Him and Gino, watching them having just a nice second half to their careers. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah,
But
I'm liking it.
yeah. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Kansas City heading to San Francisco. This is our third game preview of 4. We have the 49ers favored by a point, over under 46.5. Both of us have the 49ers winning. Ren with a 28-23 victory over the Chiefs. I've got a 30-20 victory. This is going to be an interesting game. Super Bowl rematch, as Ren pointed out.
Let's go.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just going to say San Fran does not want to lose this game. They don't want to lose it more than the Chiefs don't want to lose it.
I think so. I mean, for all kinds of reasons. I mean, but I think the most important one being if San Francisco loses this game, they are in terrible shape in terms of their division standing. I mean, it's crazy because they're on top of the division right now at 3-3, but I don't think they want to fall to 3-4. That's not a great place to be. Mercifully, the Rams, who we thought would have been contending with them for the division title, are 1-4 right now. Seahawks are 3-3. We'll see how they do against the Falcons, but it's just not a great 3-4 is not a great place to be, even if your division is struggling. I think this game is, I predicted what did I say? A 50-point total. But, when I saw that Vegas line of 46.5, it just feels high. Both of these teams have really good defenses. I mean, that's, I think, a majority, a pretty big reason why the Chiefs have been able to get off to this 5-0 start, because their defense has just been locked down. The Niners defense, it speaks for it's been a stalwart of the Niners identity for the past however many years now. The Chiefs offense, a lot of injury trouble right now. I mean, last week I guess the week before, they were trotting out 3 tight end sets. He's out here. Patrick Mahomes is out here dotting up the third string tight end just to get some help from somewhere.
Mahomes is that guy. Mahomes is that guy. He's that generational talent that can just make any receiver look like the best at that position, at that game, at that time, at that moment.
100%. But I don't think it's going to work against the Niners. Like it's one thing to do it against. I don't even remember who they played, to whoever that was, but against the Niners, come on, dog. Then he needs more help, and I don't think Juju Smith-Schuster and others. And, Travis Kelce, of course, he doesn't have any option but to step back into his do-it-all role. But I cannot fathom it's enough. And we've got Kareem Hunt. He looked okay, but I mean, he's definitely not, his younger self. And even without Christian McCaffrey, that 49ers offense is a lot more imposing, in my opinion, than what the Chiefs have to offer right now. So I'm pretty confident they get their first loss of the season here.
No, I think so too. And I mean, this Niners team has struggled a little bit early in the season. I think that they probably see this as, they're starting to rebound. They see this as their opportunity now to cement themselves back amongst the Super Bowl contender type of class in the NFL right now. Like you said, they don't want to be 3-4, but I think they've got what it takes to get it done. I mean, the Chiefs are awesome. Patrick Mahomes is awesome. It's a great football team. They've had a couple of games, however, that looked like they could have definitely gone the other way. The Chiefs are 5-0. Yes, they could, within the realm of possibility, they could be 2-3 right now, considering some of these close wins and the way that they've looked in some of these games. So I think it's, we don't expect the Chiefs to go 17-0. This is a team that really wants to beat them, like you said, for a number of reasons. So I'm going with the Niners, and I actually have a bet on the Niners as well. We'll get to the final last hurrah will be us listing our bets, and that's a spoiler of mine is that I like the Niners in this game as well.
Yes, sir. Why don't you go ahead and wrap up our game preview? Are we
going to call this one the game of the week? Because it's awfully hard when these.
No. This is easily the game of the week.
This this feels like the game of the week, even though the other games we've talked about have also been phenomenal. The Detroit Lions visiting the Minnesota Vikings in Minneapolis. The Vikings are favored in this game by 2. I think they're favored by 2. We actually, I didn't notice this. We both have Detroit winning 24-20 in this game. So not only do we have the Chiefs getting their first loss, we have the Minnesota Vikings getting their first loss. Both 24-20. The Vegas point total is 51 points. And the way that these defenses are playing, that is very high to me. And
it's way too high.
Spoiler alert, that's going to make an appearance in our bets as well. But not only that, but I mean, it's important to, so just talking bigger picture here. This is going to be a phenomenal game. Again, this NFC North is the best division in football right now. These are arguably the best 2 teams in the best division in football right now, playing for dominance at this early juncture in the season. The Detroit Lions are, I think, probably still the best team in the NFC North, the way that they looked and the way that we've seen what they can do when they're really humming, like they did yesterday against Dallas. They are going to go to work on this Vikings team. The Vikings will keep it close. They're a good team as well. But the Vikings have shown in the last couple of games at least, a propensity to not be able to close out games. And they have won those games. They tried to lose to the Jets. They tried really, really hard to lose to the Packers at Lambeau after they had like a 21-0 lead or something crazy like that. Detroit is not going to forgive them in that way. So if they can't, they could win a close game, but they're not going to blow teams out like that. So, but these defenses, the one caveat is Aiden Hutchinson is now out for this, I think, for the season. That does not help the Detroit Lions case. Yeah. That being said, I still think the Lions have what it takes to get it done in this game. They have too many weapons on offense.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're talking about injuries, we don't even know if Aaron Jones is playing, and that's when we saw the Vikings sputter. Is as soon as he went down with injury, that offense, it just became a shell of itself. Will that repeat? With Ty Chandler, assuming he has to take the full workload, I don't know. But the Lions is not a team I want to find out against. No. Not after they just hung 47 on the Cowboys.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think you were kind of alluding to this, but the best versions of the Lions is greater than the best version of the Vikings, regardless of how strong that Minnesota defense is proven to be up to this point. I mean,
agree.
That rushing attack that Montgomery and Gibbs, that dual-headed monster is crazy. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a dog. Jameson Williams is, good for 150 to 50 plus touchdown a game. It's, let's not even forget about Sam Laporta. There's just too much. It's just too much. And Jared Goff's playing out of his mind right now. There's no way. Honestly, the disrespect that the Lions are seeing by being the underdog in this game is kind of wild to me. It's a little wild to me.
It's an overreaction to the Vikings being undefeated when in reality, 100%. And as I pointed it out, they do have a couple of quality wins. I don't know. I don't see it happening in this game. If they win this game and they move to 6-0, that sounds really sexy as a Vikings fan myself. Boy, I don't know. I can't imagine how I'm going to be acting at the beginning of next week's episode if the Vikings are 6-0 and beat the Detroit Lions. But again,
you better be out of your mind, bro. Because if you get this one, stay undefeated, get a firm grip on basically have a stranglehold on the lead of the division, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
That would be wild.
Not seeing it, but and another point that I didn't bring this up in the early segment about the NFC North. This could be, and granted, they only moved to the 7th seed in the playoffs somewhat recently, but I wouldn't be shocked if this is the first time we see one division send all 4 teams to the playoffs.
Right.
Because it's very possible that the Bears sneak in as the 7th seed, and you get Lions would probably get the 1 seed in the conference by winning the division. And or Vikings if it's them, but I'm not going to believe that much yet. I don't want to hope is a dangerous thing as a longtime Vikings fan. So you have to be careful.
That would be so crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at the conference standings now. So the wild card is let's see, who's at 4? Oh, the 49ers. Okay, so wild card is 5 Lions, 6 Buccaneers, 7 Packers, and then the Bears at 8. Yeah, that would be crazy. And with a Buccaneers loss here, and I'm assuming a Bears win, I think that would probably do it.
Yeah,
That would
just
be
have to make
nuts.
sure, a lot can change in the next 10 weeks, but still,
Yeah, of course.
it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. I'm barely following this Monday night game, but can you tell me while we're live on the air right now, why the hell did the Jets not kick a field goal?
They did kick a field goal. They missed.
That is hysterical. From that, they were deep. They were on the 10-yard line.
Not great, Bob. Greg Zuerlein looking terrible.
Hashtag you hate to see it.
Yeah.
All right.
To see that. You know what I hate to see? Just a quick aside. Ren and I made a trade in our fantasy league. I traded him Breece Hall for Nico Collins. As soon as I made that trade, Breece Hall had a dud game. Nico went out with the hamstring. Probably going to be gone for, I'm guessing, 6 weeks. I'm guessing it's going to be 6 weeks.
Thank you for Breece Hall for free and get wrecked, sir.
Man.
I'm sorry for you. I mean, obviously that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It could have easily been the other way, but I'm sorry for you. But man, do I feel good about that trade.
Bro, my team would have been so stacked right now. Okay, we're back in.
I love having Breece. All right, we're talking bets. That's the last little segment here. I'm going to open with Ren's bets because we each have an alter ego to get to. I already mentioned, because this will be easy, San Francisco -1. We're laying the 1 point with San Francisco for $1, and I've got Minnesota, Detroit under the 51. I see that you have them also in your bets.
We got to double down on that.
We have to. Yep. That's definitely an easy one. And then, go ahead and list your Curtis bets here.
Yep. So I already mentioned up top, Cincinnati and Cleveland under 45, all Cleveland unders until further notice. We're going to go New England and Jacksonville under 42.5. I don't have any faith in the Jaguars offense, and New England's offense hasn't done anything all year. I wonder if the 21 points they put up against the Texans was their high for the season. The fact that that's even a question, I think, speaks to what I think of their offense. And I kind of mentioned this earlier. I don't know. I'm not super confident in this one, but Kansas City and San Francisco, I think those defenses are going to keep this total under 46.5, especially with KC's offense being with the injury issues they're having at the moment. I wonder if they'll struggle to put up some points. For all those following along at home, I'm guessing you'll probably jump ship with and not ride with me on that one. But we'll see. We're gonna throw a dart with that one.
Yeah, no, I actually think that makes more sense, even though I also picked it up pretty high as well. It feels better once you start getting into the upper 40s. It starts to get a lot harder to hit that.
Yeah.
All right, this is the time in the episode where I put on my scholar hat and become Dr. Ren, the scholar, who is, it looks more like a chef hat. There we go. We're putting on our hats at the same time. Curtis has got his Oracle hat on. All right. The theme of the scholar this week is Icarus is flying too close to the sun. Teasers have been hitting for me so incredibly all year, and I can't resist the temptation to wheel 6 teaser legs in a round robin fashion. For those of you who count, that's 15 total combinations, and I'm only throwing officially on this show 25 cents each on them. I'll be doing a little more on the side for myself. Lions plus 8.5. The fact that they're not favored is ridiculous, and we will capitalize on it. Bills minus 2.5. They're playing Tennessee. They should whoop that ass. Curtis, please do your part while you're tailgating, while you're in the stands. Please do your part to make noise and help that one happen for me. Texans plus 8.5, because I think they'll keep it close against the Packers. Commanders minus 1.5. They're playing the Panthers. Please beat the Panthers. If you can't beat the Panthers, you're an embarrassment. Jets plus 7.5. They're playing Pittsburgh. It's not so much faith in the Jets and more faith in the fact that it'll be a low scoring game. So it'll stay one possession. And then the last one is Cardinals plus 8.5 against the Chargers. Don't feel amazing about this one because the Chargers look good, but it's a road game for the Chargers. I think the Cardinals have something to prove now, and I can see them putting up some points and keeping it close. So those are my 6 teaser legs. Got to hit 5 to actually make money. Good luck to me. But both of us, Curtis and I, agree on these teaser legs in our picks. So I'm living and dying by the agreement. So good luck to
by
us.
the spreadsheet. Yeah, I have faith in those. If you hit that, that's wheels up, sir. Wheels up.
Well, I'm going to act a real donkey next week.
Yes, sir. Yeah, especially if the Vikings win. Vikings win and you hit these legs, that'd be crazy.
Out of control. Out of control.
Let's go ahead and get to the Oracle's parlay for the week. The theme of the parlay this week, it's not you, it's me. I looked at these lines and I did not quite understand why the teams that were favored were getting the respect that they were getting, that was being shown to them via Vegas. The New England Jacksonville game, the Jaguars are favored by 5.5 points. They Houseway. We just talked about that Patriots defense.
They suck.
Jaguars offense not looking great. Patriots plus 7.5. Denver defense on point. We're going to see the rookie again. There's no way that the Saints, who just got 50 points hung on them, are going to win this game by 1.5 points. That's crazy. Denver plus 7.5. Miami, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how great I feel about this one. I am hoping that Anthony Richardson plays. If they keep Joe Flacco in there, we'll see. I am more or less banking on a little bit more of a connection between Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with Snoop Huntley here. I mean, you can't keep those guys down forever. Mike McDaniel's a smart coach. He'll get it figured out. There's no way that there is a way. We'll give the Colts a little bit of respect, but 3.5 points, that's crazy. Miami plus 7.5, and we already kind of beat this dead horse. Detroit money line, because it's been a fun ride, you know. Everybody chained. What's that? Damn, I was trying to hit a How I Met Your Mother quote and I completely messed it up. We all had a great time at the party. Vikings get their first loss. Detroit money line.
Very much so. It's a good looking parlay. I like it. And yeah, I mean, we got a lot of individual legs this week, so it's pretty exciting. And maybe we want to consider starting to juice up our amounts with how good we're doing at this point. But the top,
and that's where the scholar is starting to just slowly find himself drifting to the dark side.
You know what? It's terrible, but you know, when you start, once you pop, you can't stop, or something like that. So
yeah. Ren sent me a text the other day, and he was talking about his wife wants him to hit more parlays like the Oracle does, and all I responded was, how easily your wife is seduced by the dark side.
I know. I'm like, Curtis hit a plus 1,000 parlay. She's like, why aren't you doing that? I'm like, you should see the floor I'm holding for the you know, I'm keeping us held down. He should not be hitting this goofy shit. So
the amount of I'm going to go ahead and call it luck that I've had this season with these parlays is pretty ridiculous even for me. Like I'm good for, you know, 2 or 3 throughout the season, but something's going on this year. I don't know if there's something in the air, something in the water in Buffalo. They've got a pretty big lead problem. It's a lot of old infrastructure. I wonder if that's, you know, doing something, helping with the brainwaves a little bit.
Yep. Slowly degrading you to make worse and worse decisions, but which end up paying off.
Hey, by any means necessary, whatever works.
Absolutely. And with that, let's wrap up. And
yes,
thanks for listening. And good luck to us and good luck to our bets. And signing off, Co Clown.
Yes, sir. Till next week.
Yep. Peace.